Another question from one of the viewers. What is the impact on businesses of the VAT increase? And what are the expected effects of the tax increases on CPI?
So look, I think maybe starting with CPI inflation, bear in mind that I suppose the expectation was it could come out about 4.7% this year. And then we had a very low figure for January, very modest CPI inflation outcome, about 4.4%. Being at the start of the year, it pulls the index down for the whole year. And inflation was then broadly expected to come out at 4.5%. But of course, the same day we got the budget with the VAT increases. And, that could add about 0.5, 0.6 to inflation. So we're back at around about 5% again for CPI inflation. I think that's quite key because, that really indicates to us that, CPI inflation is unlikely to drop much below the 5% mark over the medium term for the Reserve Bank's inflation targeting policies. And it really indicates as well the Reserve Bank's probably not going to rush into any tough interest rate cuts. They typically are quite hawkish. And what this really means is that they're unlikely to cut interest rates too quickly, whereas they have historically hiked interest rates quite quickly under Lesetja Kanyanga. So that's where we're sitting at the moment with inflation and interest rates. We're looking for really a flat outlook with the possibility of a cut, down the line. Certainly in terms of VAT and businesses, in terms of the consumer, if you look at South Africa's consumer, and even if you look at the tax statistics, it's quite interesting to see that the bulk of tax, 70% of personal income tax, comes from 2 million people in South Africa out of 7.5 million people. And that really shows you the income spread as well. And, certainly for VAT, it's a regressive tax. So it means that people who earn a small amount of money tend as a proportion of their income to pay more VAT than people who earn a larger income because they're going to be spending less on commodities with the VAT. They've tried to balance this with the ad valorem tax, which is on luxury goods. And obviously there has been tax increases for wealthy individuals in South Africa, even though a lot of people have actually not seen that. And that's, of course, the lack of relief for bracket creep. And that's brought in a substantial amount as well. So the bottom line for businesses, it will take off growth. And we were looking at GDP growth rate of possibly 1.5% this year. It might come closer to 1.4%. So it's going to have a negative impact. But I don't think it's going to quell the economic outlook and cause growth to drop down substantially. It's a small increase, that has, on a global perspective, brought us slightly up towards the average, but still well below it. And historically, we haven't had any increase in VAT since 1993.